All right, YouTube. So there is a lot of talk out there. Probably heard Stephen A. Smith mention this. Many Laker fans, LeBron James fans, sports writers have talked about it. There's this push to have the Lakers acquire Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards, and I have mixed feelings about it personally. I guess you have to do what can help the team. I guess that's always what's the most important thing, is what will help the team immediately. And I guess acquiring Bradley Beal will help the Lakers, especially on the offensive end. One of the weaknesses for the Lakers is their outside shooting. And Bradley Beal is one of the better outside shooters and scorers in the NBA. And Brandon Ingram isn't really a shooter per se. Lonzo Ball is Lonzo Ball. He's just inconsistent, and he's not, I guess, what you would call a clutch performer, to say the least. And Bradley Beal has stated that he would like to play, supposedly would like to play with the Los Angeles Lakers. So if you make that trade, then go ahead. If you can do it, then go ahead and do it. But my only issue is this. With Laker fans and LeBron James fanboys, it's like every loss that they have, and you see it with the Warriors too a little bit. With every loss that they have, it's like the end of the world. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that everybody pretty much just saw this season as a wash. This season, if the Lakers can just win 46, 47 games, that's an improvement. I think last year they won what? How many games did the Lakers win last year? Was it 35? 31? It was in the low to mid 30s. I know that. So if they were just to be able to win 47, 48 games, 46, that's a vast improvement over last year. But it's like people expect LeBron James to always be on teams that are winning a championship or going to the finals, or I guess in this case, best case scenario is Western Conference Finals, because no one expects them to beat the Warriors. But it's like they're trying to do everything possible to get LeBron James into the Western Conference Finals. And I don't know. It's like, I think it's kind of disrespectful to the Rockets, man, because the Rockets were one game away. Matter of fact, yeah, they were one game away from making it to the NBA Finals. In fact, you could not just one game, but a couple of quarters away from making it to the NBA Finals. But they just couldn't seal the deal, and they just couldn't. For the life of me, watching that game, I never understood, if your team is 1 of 15 from outside, why are you still shooting three-pointers? Then you go 1 for 20. Why are you still shooting threes? You're not making them. But anyway, back to the point of my video, man. We're for LeBron James now. He's 33 years old. He's a month away from turning 34. I've stated categorically I believe he is on the downside of his career. And LeBron James, one of his weaknesses is although I do believe that he's a scorer, no matter what he or some of his fans will tell you. He is a scorer, but he's not a consistent shooter. He's always been kind of inconsistent. He has a bulky jumper. And because of this, his teams, when they have been successful, have always required stretch fours and even sometimes fives. And he usually spot up shooters, to go along with his, passing ability. Because when you're LeBron James and you're distributing the basketball and you're a type of player that can always draw the defense and you're kicking out the guys who can't knock down jumpers, then that kind of nullifies LeBron James's greatest strength, which is being oftentimes a decoy on offense. Then it forces LeBron James to be a non-decoy, and then it forces for him to sometimes have to shoot the ball 30, 35 times in order for the Lakers to win. LeBron James is not that type of player. He can put on his cape and act like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan from time to time and score 51 points or 57 or 48, from time to time. But that's not how he approaches the game of basketball, in my opinion. So, I don't know. In my opinion, yeah, like I said, he has to have shooters around him, and I think Bradley Beal will help out the ball club. But the last game, the Lakers got blown the hell out by the Denver Nuggets, who can be potent on offense at times when they have everything rolling. As LeBron James gets older, he's going to need more help. That's the bottom line. He's just going to need more help. Michael Jordan, his first championship run, 1990-91 season, when he was 28 years old. He averaged 31.5 points per game. The Chicago Bulls averaged 110 points per game, I believe, that season. And of the 82 games that he played in, he shot 50% or better in 59 of those games. That's a perimeter player. Contrast that with the 97-98 season when Jordan was 34, 35 years old. And the Chicago Bulls only averaged 96 points per game. Now, some of that was a trend throughout the league toward more slowed down, more defensive pace, more half-court basketball. Some of that was attributed to that. And some of that was attributed to the fact that both he and Pippen were getting older. Jordan, in the 82 games that season, only shot 50% or better in 34 of the 82 games. So that means that in 48 of those games, he shot under 50%. And in fact, a lot of those games, Jordan was shot kind of atrociously bad. I remember a lot of 10 for 28 games, 11 for 28, 10 for 27s, 10 for 26, 9 for 27s. I remember one game he played against the Spurs that went to overtime. I can't remember if it was double overtime or overtime, but I think it was overtime. We shot 12 of 39 from the floor. One of the worst games I've ever seen him shoot. But ironically, every big shot that the Bulls needed in that game, he made, which also was the game-tying three-pointer to send it to overtime. But the point being that LeBron James is going to need more help as he gets older. His prime window is closing. So a Bradley Beal would help. It would probably, in my opinion, maybe push the Lakers into becoming a playoff caliber team in the Western Conference. But for order them to challenge the top teams, like the Warriors, and I'm not convinced about the Clippers, man. I know they're first in the Western Conference, I believe, at least as of the last time I looked at things, but I don't see them ending the season at the top West. But in order for the Lakers to become a championship team, they're going to have to wait till next year. And that would be with the supposed additions with somebody like a Kevin Durant or Anthony Davis. I think, well, if you can get Durant, then if you're Lakers, you get him. But me personally, if I was a Laker fan, I prefer Davis because Davis is just a more dominant player, in my opinion. than Durant. What he could do for the Lakers. I mean, a big man like that. I know he's really a power forward, but he could play the center position. But anyway, either a guy who of that size who has an outside shot. I mean, he's, to me, considerably better than Chris Bosh ever was. You know, wow. I mean, he would, to me, turn Lakers into an instant champ. With LeBron James, he would turn the Lakers into an instant championship caliber team. Especially if the Warriors still somehow lose Kevin Durant. They lose him. Perhaps if he does decide to go and play with the Knicks. And it'll be even worse for the Warriors if they still ended up getting rid of Draymond Green just to appease Durant. And Durant still leaves. So the hierarchy of the Western Conference and NBA can change just like that. As a Bulls fan, I remember we were the top of the NBA for 3 consecutive seasons, 96, 97, 98. And then all of a sudden, everything just fell in place for us to just fall to obscurity. Phil Jackson was not coming back. Then, because Phil Jackson, domino effect, because Phil Jackson wasn't coming back, then all of a sudden Michael Jordan said, look, I'm not going to be part of any type of rebuilding process. I'm retiring, even though he really didn't want to retire. Jordan did want to keep playing. But because of Phil Jackson's departure, he didn't want to play for any other coach, he retired. Then Scottie Pippen was traded. Then Dennis Rodman semi-retired and then played briefly for 2 other clubs, the Mavericks and the Lakers, and then he was done. All right. Then all of a sudden we went from a 62-win championship team to, I believe we went 13-37 that year in the abbreviated strike year, and we sucked for a very long time. So Warrior fans need to enjoy what they're doing right now because it's not etched in stone that it's going to happen forever. It's not. But those are my thoughts, man, about the Lakers, LeBron, Bradley Beal, and what have you. Tell me what you guys think.